Hey, good hot Friday, everybody. It is Kevin and Tammy from Acclaimed Heating, Cooling, and Furnace Cleaning. The heating is what I'm doing right now. I'm overheating. I really need to be cooling, but we need our customers to be cooled more than us. And we're here for the Dear Kevin segment today. And Tammy, what's going on?
We're going to talk about air conditioning freezing up, which I didn't even know that was possible. I did know, but here's a question about that.
All right.
Dear Kevin, this week has been especially hot. Absolutely.
It has.
Yeah. So we've been running our air conditioner nearly every day. I'm sure almost all day, every day. Last night when I went downstairs to do laundry, I noticed that some of the ducting over the furnace looked frosted over and was cold to touch. Later that day, I could see a small puddle of water around the base of the furnace. After searching around Google, the Google doctor, I found out that it is likely my AC coil that is frozen up. Why might this happen now, and how can I prevent it from happening in the future? Signed, Frosty in the Summertime.
Frosty in the summertime. Unfortunately, the air conditioner is frosty and not frosty there. First of all, there's an air conditioning coil that sits on top of your furnace. So most people don't know that's there. So part of the air conditioner is on top of the furnace. And that air conditioning coil is what gets really, really cold. And then the air from your furnace blows past it, and that's how you get cold air into your house. So the number one way that it gets iced up is because it's getting too cold. And there's lots of humidity in the air. So if it's too cold, it's going to ice over. And it's too cold a lot of the time, and most of the time because it's not getting enough air. So air filter must be very clean, and make sure that that air filter is being maintained through the summertime. If you don't have enough air going through it, then there's issues.
Okay.
That's the most common one. And that's something that people can check themselves before they give us a call. Before you do that, though, you have to kind of thaw that ice block out. So to thaw it out, we can't do anything about it, and neither can they to check it. You have to turn the cooling off, so turn the air conditioner off, and then hopefully you can run your fan. So run your summer fan, and that will melt it faster than it just sitting there. And usually 2 to 4 hours is what it would take to melt it.
So one of the questions I have about that is, so a lot of times people will refer to, I have an air conditioner because I think of the air conditioner, which is the condenser outside.
Right.
Does that airflow impact at all the freezing in the furnace area?
Yeah, it totally does.
Okay.
So that's the second thing to look at that you can take a look at. So the piece that's outside, called the condenser, that's the big piece everybody sees. Make sure you check that to make sure it's not really, really dusty. We've had a couple this week that have had nothing but just tons of pollen on it. And if that also, it's all about airflow. If that's not getting the right airflow outside, it will also impact that inside. And again, airflow theme, underneath that air conditioning coil above the furnace, if that's dusty and that's restricting the airflow, that's an issue as well, just like the filter. So it's all about airflow going through your furnace and into your house, and also airflow going through that outside condenser. So make sure that that's clean. Those are the most common things. There's several others, but those are the most common.
Okay, and so to recap, for us to come out there and take a look, or anybody to come out and take a look at that, it needs to thaw before we can troubleshoot it.
That's right. It needs to thaw before we can troubleshoot it. We had one yesterday. So we were there, and there were a couple of problems that we knew about, but it was not thawed. It was a solid block of ice. So we knew that there was 1 or 2 problems, but we didn't know if there were any others. So today we went back, and sure enough, there was a darn leak in the air conditioning coil.
Okay.
We couldn't tell that because it was blocked with ice.
Okay, so the water flow, the moisture that you find around the furnace area, that's an indication that you've got a freezing up issue. What are the will it make the AC stop working completely if it's frozen up?
Yeah, it's a great question. You won't have any cold air coming out of your house because that ice block is blocking off all of the airflow to the ducts.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you've got an AC that's got water or a furnace around it, that's an indication that you could have restricted airflow. And the other one is that there's no cool air whatsoever.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate when you want the rest of the house to be so cold.
Yeah.
And the air, it's always our theme, isn't it? Airflow, airflow, airflow. Either in the wintertime you have a restricted airflow, you have a furnace filter that's clogged. Those furnace filters. We have a lot of people getting their furnace and ducts cleaned done at this time of year, which is not the common, but because so many people have ACs, they have the air flowing through their furnace, and because of that, their ducts are dirty. So that's interesting too. That's another kind of spin-off of using your AC all in the summertime that your air ducts need to be cleaned also in the kind of seemingly off season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like the air conditioners, they usually show up with problems when it's really, really hot outside.
Yep.
The same as furnaces when it's really, really cold outside. And the reason for that is they're working much longer and much harder. And anything mechanical, that's when you're going to have problems, is when it's working extra hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People often will say, "Oh, it's Murphy's Law that my furnace died when it was the coolest of the year." But
Right.
it's similar for your AC. It's not Murphy's Law that your AC dies when it's the hottest, but it's working its tail off trying to get it
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that was a really good synopsis of that poor soul. It's frosty in the summertime. We have a contest still running with Liberty Security.
Great.
I do know that there's weekly questions and answers happening with John, and so it's nice to see that on our Facebook Live and get to know Liberty, what they do, and all the services they provide. And then to make sure that you participate in that and get into the Pampa gift card, you get to be a member of the Acclaim Homeowners Club, like their Facebook page, and also like our Facebook page, and then you can get into that that prize, which would be great to go out there and take a date out for some carnivore's delight.
That's absolutely true.
All right,
Well, stay cool, everybody.
and have a great weekend.